Yeah, I'll react to that, sure. All right, guys. So this, I was impressed by the first video, and just like happened with Kings and Generals and Epic History TV, you guys were proven right each time, and I've no doubt you are right this time as well. I think Letix Heaven or Melkor or someone in the comments said, just wait till episodes like 10 to, 10 to 13. Well, I'm on episode 9 now, and each of these channels, those are my, I'd have to say those are my 3 favorite channels. I like History Matters a lot too. It doesn't go as in depth into this stuff, so it would be Epic History TV, and HistoryMarche and Kings and Generals as my top 3, and they do just keep getting better and better, and this one especially is so impressive because of the maps and how just I praise the map so much, I know, but I don't regret it. It's amazing. Let's go. If you're new to the channel, my name is Connor. I live in Rhode Island, the greatest state in the Union, New England, United States. And I like to learn about history through YouTube recommendations. The original link to the video at top of the description below. Right below that, link to the Discord. Just click on it. It'll send you right over there. More the merrier. Love to have you. Let's go. Hannibal, HistoryMarche presents Hannibal back across the Apennine Mountains. Hannibal Part 9. Let's go. Just trying to make sure that you can hear me over it.
It's
all right,
late.
Sorry. Yep. Fabius, LXH were telling me this, but this was just genius at the same time. I don't know how they didn't. Again, Hannibal, out of... I swear not to pause as much. I just want to get this out of the way. Look at these damn maps. So, Napoleon has a bit of both Hannibal and Caesar in him, I think. I think Caesar is more of the politically calculating and a little bit more aware of the importance of mercy in a lot of cases. And Napoleon, I think, has some of those qualities. And Hannibal, I think, is the most brilliant military tactician of them all, in my opinion, so far. More so than Hannibal, or more so than Caesar and Napoleon, from my experience watching them. But he's very merciless when it comes to sending a message, and a lot of you guys said that is maybe a part of his time. And I think Napoleon has some of that too. So I think Napoleon is a bit of a mix between Hannibal and Caesar. And I think overall Napoleon is my favorite. But Hannibal, I believe, is just a smarter person than both Napoleon and Caesar. Leave the ox then. Yes, sir. Okay, they do get out.
It's late summer, 217 BC. As the fires across the Arga-Falanus Valley died down after months of Carthaginian raiding, the locals returned to their burned towns and cities, struggling to bring their lives back to normal. Having outwitted Fabius, Hannibal escaped the valley. And now there was real fear in the Roman Senate as the Carthaginian general marched north towards Rome itself. And as a fan of our channel, you should definitely check out our friends over at CuriosityStream, my personal favorite streaming service that features thousands of documentaries geared towards the lifelong quest to learn,
I really do it for any...
understand. I've been subscribed to CuriosityStream for over 2 years now, and I can highly recommend their history documentaries, which features topics from ancient,
I was going to sneeze and I didn't, and it always happens,
our recommendation is
and I hate it.
A March on Rome, a fantastic, concise take on Hannibal's
But
life
yeah, I always like to say,
against the Roman Empire. You should definitely check it out. And you can watch
I'm so thankful for all the subs and everything I get
free access to the entire library of
from this channel, and
Click on the link
And
in the
I just,
description and register
this is,
with the
I do
code
such an
HistoryMarche
easy thing.
to get
I
30 days
watch
of free
videos,
unlimited
I react
access
to them.
to thousands
Let me
of
just pause it quick. I loved watching people react to history videos before I started the channel. That's sort of why I started the channel. I thought, why not, while I'm reacting, just film myself and see how it goes. But these guys do the hard work. And I always want to make sure I at least play through the ads. I didn't do that earlier on, but it's worth any inconvenience, I think, to you guys or to me, that I just show how thankful I am to have the easy job when they create just such good work through effort and skill that I just don't have. So always shout outs to these channels and whoever supports them.
Documentaries on Curiosity Stream. And by registering, you'll also be supporting our channel.
Did I miss any codes?
HistoryMarche Curiosity
Okay,
Stream.
okay.
Click on the link in the description and register with the code
So if you're going to this, make sure to use this code, Help Out HistoryMarche.
HistoryMarche to get 30 days of free unlimited access to thousands of documentaries on Curiosity Stream. And by registering, you'll also be supporting our channel.
If you're not ready to learn, there's the door. Get out. Home ec down the hall. You're in the wrong class. Make me some linguine, lasagna.
Escaping the Argophalanus Valley with his army and plunder intact again highlighted Hannibal's genius.
The maps are even better
And
now.
as the Carthaginian army now marched north along the Volturnus River, fears in Rome were reignited that the attack on the city was imminent. But despite the road to Rome being open,
Fast forward if you're done with my pausing, okay? I don't care. I usually care. But my God, look at this map. Look at this map. Look how it goes. Fast forward if you want, all right? I'm blown away. So they keep getting better. Now you can start to see the city
with
names.
his army and plunder intact again highlighted Hannibal's genius.
And it just goes
And
further
as
in.
the
It shows
Carthaginian army
topography,
now marched north
all
along
the rivers.
Volturnus
Now let's listen.
Valley with his army and plunder intact again highlighted Hannibal's genius. And as the Carthaginian army now marched north along the Volturnus River, fears in Rome were reignited that the attack on the city was imminent. But despite the road to Rome being open for the second time, Hannibal marshaled his army back into the Apennine Mountains. His string of victories was not enough to secure alliances in Italy, and the Carthaginian general knew that without a firm foothold in the plains of Campania, he needed to establish winter quarters in a better strategic position.
I want to know what's happening in Iberia.
Heading back east to his old campaigning ground near the Adriatic coast was a prudent decision. Encumbered with plunder and herds of cattle, the Carthaginians moved slowly, cutting a swathe of destruction along their line of march, ravaging farms and property, collecting provisions and prisoners as they moved, unopposed by Fabius. While this unchallenged destruction of Roman lands and the prior escape from the Argophalanus Valley were the two latest embarrassing incidents that caused outrage against Fabius in the Senate, it was in fact his strategy that preserved the Roman army from potential destruction. Thanks to Fabius, the Republic stayed in the fight, which arguably kept their Italian allies from joining Hannibal.
I heard all of that.
Yet, due to his cautious
Sun
war
Tzu.
plans, Fabius's popularity in Rome was crumbling, and his allies in the Senate found it impossible to rally political support around him.
Anyone know when Art of War Sun Tzu was alive when it was written?
It also didn't help that, by now, news spread throughout Rome that Fabius's property and lands were spared during Carthaginian raiding of the Argophalanus Valley, which cast further doubts about him. The Roman general tried in vain to improve his reputation by selling parts of his property to ransom Roman prisoners from Hannibal, after hearing that the Senate would not fund their release. But despite the unabating criticism against their release, prisoners from Hannibal, nation by selling parts of his property to ransom Roman prisoners from Hannibal, after hearing that the Senate would not fund their release. But despite the unabating criticism against him and demands for a more aggressive stance, he kept to the Fabian strategy, refusing to be drawn into a battle not of his choosing, and continued to shadow Hannibal. His scorched earth policy had a very limited effect, as many citizens refused to burn their towns and crops, but it did manage to hamper the movement of the Carthaginian army, which did not have a secure supply chain and had to live off the land. Meanwhile, Hannibal reached a place he deemed suitable for his winter quarters, the town of Geronium. It is unclear if Geronium was taken by force when Hannibal's terms were.
And he has a ruler, and he has a one of the things I've been having problems with these past channels and these great channels was it was difficult to gauge distance between two armies and between legions within an army, and it's got one right down there.
Rejected, or if he took possession of the town after the inhabitants fled. Either way, Hannibal encamped just outside the town and had his troops repair the collapsed wall, as well as surround the town with a trench and a palisade, turning Geronium into a fortified granary for the Carthaginian army, where provisions and livestock were stored. The sick and wounded recovered in the camp, as thousands fanned out to forage the fertile plain to the west, while others pastured the cattle and horses on the hillsides to the east. With enough provisions to last until spring, in a strong defensive position, with several roads offering multiple mountain crossings into Apulia, Geronium was the perfect place to winter with an army. Meanwhile, in the foothills across the valley, the Romans arrived some 3 days later and began encamping. But the dissatisfaction in the Senate finally boiled over, forcing Fabius to depart for Rome. Officially, he journeyed to the capital to observe religious duties. However, the more likely reason for his absence from the front line was to confront his critics and explain his actions in an effort to salvage any support he could for his campaign.
How are you letting them burn everything?
While the political discussion raged on, back in the Roman camp near Geronium, Minucius assumed a more aggressive stance. As second in command, he was left in charge of the army with orders to follow the Fabian strategy. But, eager to put pressure on Hannibal, he set up camp in the plain, from where he sent out parties of cavalry and velites to hunt down the Carthaginian foragers. Although most of the foragers escaped unharmed, Hannibal moved quickly to protect his foraging grounds by sending 2,000 Libyans to occupy the ridge overlooking the Roman camp. And just to the south, he established a temporary camp where he stationed 2/3 of his army. Eager to square up against the enemy, Minucius sent the heavy infantry towards the Carthaginian camp, while his light infantry and cavalry went for the ridge. This seemingly created a problem for Hannibal. Not only was he outnumbered, but he left his cavalry in the main camp. Whether he did this intentionally to appear weaker and trick the Romans into attacking, or because the horses needed resting, he now lacked the mobility needed for the clash against Minucius. With superior numbers and mobility on their side, the Romans took the ridge. Seeing his chance to put more pressure on the Carthaginians, Minucius moved his camp to the top of the captured hill. Expecting another attack, Hannibal restricted all foraging operations, keeping the troops in a state of readiness within the forward camp. But Minucius stayed put, and after a few days of inaction, the Carthaginians...
Keep an eye on this ruler, by the way, if you're trying to gauge distance here. So they're a good 3 miles, maybe closer to 5 miles away, or Hannibal is from his original camp.
General finally broke the stalemate by sending troops to forage in ever-increasing numbers each day, until eventually some 4,000 men were committed. Dispersing so many troops in the surrounding countryside, while already being outnumbered, begs the question, did Hannibal so desperately need provisions for the winter and was forced to forage? Or did he want to weaken his position, perhaps even appear incompetent, to provoke Minucius into fighting and winning a few skirmishes, with the aim of luring the Roman general into a trap once he became overconfident?
I wouldn't doubt it.
Whatever the case, Minucius answered in force. He led the heavy infantry against a Carthaginian camp, while
Sorry, so this will really either slightly worsen my opinion of his intelligence or greatly increase it. See how he deals with an enemy commander with a much different, strategy.
Sending his cavalry and light infantry through the back gate to hunt down the foragers. The skirmish was a bloody affair, with the Romans getting the better of the engagement, killing many of Hannibal's foragers. Realizing it was time to regroup, Hannibal marched back to his main camp.
I love how it just keeps doing exclamation points in Rome over here.
Exaggerated accounts of this victory caused widespread rejoicing in Rome. Senators and citizens alike believed that they finally had a commander who can defeat Hannibal. Hailed for his success, a law was hastily passed that made Minucius co-dictator, which was effectively a return to having 2 senior magistrates in charge. But things did not go smoothly. Fabius urged caution, while Minucius wanted to take aggressive action. Due to persistent arguments over strategy, Fabius proposed that they command the army on alternate days, or split the...
So Minucius is like a Marshal Ney, and what Fabius is like...
army into 2 independent commands. Minucius decided to take 4...
Can't think of another...
legions and the commands. Minucius decided to take 4 legions and establish his own camp.
Next episode coming soon.